が消えかかるそれがオレンジャー熱い血流れる鋼のマシン
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 9 for Your Eyes Ohranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listeners. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm well, man. It's a beautiful day out. Relaxed. I was a little sick before. I'm basically over it.
Nice.
So that's nice. Yeah.
Right on.
I'm good, dude.
Well, you know what might push you over the edge into full health is the restorative powers of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger.
You know, Chouriki does have restorative powers. We've seen this in the past, Matt.
This is something we know, and it's something that we're actually going to talk about a little today, I think. But before we get into all of that, Dave, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
So, our first star of the week, Matt, is you ever have just like a train of thought that you at first think is brilliant, and then you round the final corner and you end up in like Moron Town?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I feel like this happens when I've had some sort of brilliant breakthrough while I'm like dreaming.
Yes.
And I wake up and I think like, oh my gosh, like finally the secrets of the universe.
So here's my incredible idea, Matt. So
Okay.
I was thinking about that thing where it's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or 6 degrees of separation, right? Like everybody's connected to everybody else by no more than, 6 relationships, right? And I was like, man, that's such a cool thing. And I just think it's such a, like, I don't know who invented that or who realized it, but I think it's such a cool thing. And I was like, what would be neat is you can get your friends to do you favors, right? Like, hey, like I need a hand with X. Can you give me a hand? Cool. But you can't really ask friends of friends to do you favors. Like that's not a social thing. But if you could, right? That would just widen the scope. And you also theoretically would be available to help people out, to do favors for friends of friends, right?
Sure.
So this would widen the scope of available favors that you could ask of people, right? Like, I don't know any mechanics personally that are like pals, but I am sure I have like a friend of a friend who does. So this is where I'm going with this. And I was like, man, if you could expand that to like the full, you could theoretically kind of be getting in touch with anybody on the planet. And being like, hey, man, I'm this person who knows this person who knows this person who knows you. Could you maybe help me out with X? And then I was like, oh, okay, Dave, that's a really, really good idea.
Sure.
But the problem is that, some favors are really valuable. And, they're really hard. They take a lot of time. And some favors are fairly minor. And I was thinking, it's like, well, in this website or whatever, you would need some sort of system to track how valuable the favors are, right? So if you did someone like one really big favor, then there would be multiple small favors that other people, you know what I mean? Like,
right, like there's a varying degrees of like what people owe each other for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, precisely. And then what I realized, Matt, is I had invented money. That's just money. That's what money is. It's just a system whereby we track favors. So in my brilliance, Matt, I managed to catch up with like ancient Sumeria, and I invented money.
Well, listen, you got there in the end, and that's really all that matters.
So it was such a disheartening experience because like it was so elevating for the first like 9 steps of it. I was like, this is really I'm not a programmer, but there's something to this idea. And then I rounded that corner.
Here's what's good is that there is something to that idea. You can feel good about that.
It turns out it is actually a very good idea. It's super effective.
Currency, dude.
Yeah. So that's all I had. Matt, what is our... So if you spend any money today, you can thank an ancient thinker that we'll call Proto Dave.
Yeah.
What, Matt, is our second star of the week?
Dave's second star of the week is that yesterday we all got together. When I say we all, I mean me, our sister, you,
just
and
everyone
Beth.
on the planet.
Yeah,
all of us.
everyone. We all got together.
Just everyone
at your place, which is surprisingly roomy. I didn't
Yeah.
think everybody would fit.
It was packed, but we got them in there.
We got together to play D&D, our sort of semi-regular ongoing D&D game. And I know we've talked about it before.
We have.
I want to sort of touch back on it now because we did something yesterday that was, for me, a fun experience. But for other people playing the game...
Well, I had a great time.
A brand new experience, which is that normally, when we've been playing, we've encountered dragons.
Oh, yeah.
But this was the first time we had gone through a dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so,
yes.
Like, until you do both of those things, you've kind of... Like, you've only played half of D&D, right? Like, D&D is two things.
Right.
It
You're
is
not
dungeons,
getting the full thing. Yeah.
and it is dragons. And if you haven't gone through a dungeon yet, like, sorry, dude. You've only played D.
Yeah, you do have to... You've got to do the whole thing. And we hadn't done one yet. And I was like, oh, because, like, the adventure that we're doing, because we're doing a pre-written campaign, because we're all very busy, it doesn't really have a lot of like dungeons in it, like just because we're doing Wrath of the Storm King and it's not like a dungeon oriented adventure. And I hadn't, I think, realized how much I missed dungeons.
Yeah, dude. I mean, because also, what if, like, Beth is playing a rogue? And you kind of forget, if you haven't been in a dungeon in a while, like, oh, right, a lot of the rogue stuff is, like, sneaky and lockpicky and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was, like, the fact that you guys had a rogue was super, super helpful.
Yeah, which was great, because before that, she was, like, a gnome rogue fighting giants, which is useful, because sneak attack damage is great. And I just realized that we are getting dangerously close into talking about our D&D characters.
Yeah, that's not territory you ever want to be in.
But what was really fun about doing this yesterday was watching people who had never, like, played through a Dungeons & Dragons dungeon before, like, watching those gears turn in their head for the first time, like, oh, like, this is how this sort of puzzle works, like, going through your inventory and trying to, like, find tools that have been dropped in earlier parts of the dungeon. Like, it was just a lot of fun. Like, not only do I love the dungeon part of Dungeons & Dragons, I just really like watching people, like, figure stuff out for the first time, and it was really great. I have a lot of jokes about it, honestly. It was just a fun time that we had yesterday.
I
want to share my
also,
life with you, listeners.
I gotta say, so I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Matt. That dungeon is not in Wrath of the Storm King.
Yeah, you did. So this was a custom bit that you put into the game. Yeah,
this was a thing that I put into the game, and I felt pretty good about that dungeon.
It was good, man. It all worked together very well. The puzzles were clever, and like one sort of led into the other.
Yeah, we had a blast. Now the one thing, and I actually had a great experience because, and if you've ever DM'd a game, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, is I had set things up, okay, very, very quickly. No, never mind. I'm not going to go into it. But the point is that, like, I had sort of set up a series of, like, puzzles that the players had to solve, and the final puzzle was supposed to be this big thing, and Matt realized, he's like, wait a minute, couldn't I just solve that with prestidigitation? And I had to...
there was like a door that was like, it was like a clockwork door that was all covered in like corrosion and junk. And we were supposed to have used like this acid bomb that we had gotten by like putting 3 other parts of the dungeon all together. Like it all culminated into like this one thing. And we got to the end. I forgot we had the acid bomb, but I remembered that prestidigitation can just like clean stuff.
So you're like, can I just clean that thing? And I just couldn't think of a reasonable way to say, like, no, it doesn't work. Because, like, that's what prestidigitation does. Like, it very clearly does that exact thing. So it's like, oh, well, yeah, that works. So now you guys just have an extra acid bomb?
Hey, man, listen, it might come in useful.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure. Because I think what's probably going to happen is I'm going to forget that you have the acid bomb. And this is like, you're just going to bring it out at some point when I forgot you had prestidigitation. Right, there's going to be an acid bomb. It's a lot of acid. It's like 15 cubic feet of acid because they use dust of dryness. Anyways, so, man, guys, I know we've said it before, but, like, play some D&D. Like, get some friends together and play Dungeons and Dragons. You do not have to be good at it. There are lots of you can just buy the dungeon, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was it. It was a really fun time. Dave, what is our third star of the week?
So our third star of the week, Matt, is so you and I have a podcast.
Yes,
it's this one.
For some time we have.
Yeah, and in this podcast we watch Japanese television.
You got it.
Really, the entire point.
And we share our thoughts with you, the listener.
The listener, yeah. So our entire show is predicated on experiencing the weirdness that is Japanese television.
Sure.
So you would think that after all these years, Matt, that I would be, I don't know, inured to it, like on some level.
Man, you would think that, wouldn't you?
You would think that. But I've just found a new show, Matt. It's on Netflix. And it's called Kantaro, the Sweet-Toothed Salaryman.
Okay. Please tell me everything.
It's incredible. Here is the premise of Kantaro, the Sweet-Toothed Salaryman. Kantaro is he is a businessman, right? And he was formerly like a computer programmer. And he's like really, really smart. And he's really smart. He's like very good at his job. But Kantaro is obsessed with sweets.
Sure. Track so far.
Yeah. Because his mother was a dentist. And she, never let him have sweets. In, episode 9, his mother comes to visit, and she's, inspecting his house for sweets to make sure he doesn't have any. But he, puts her to sleep with, chamomile tea and lavender candles so that he can eat sweets, while she's asleep. And he's, sitting on the couch, eating them right in her face. It gets very, actually, sort of uncomfortable and, vaguely Oedipal.
Yeah. It also sounds like the weird, bad parts of the Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake. With
Yes.
Where, Christopher Lee was playing Willy Wonka's dad, who was a dentist, in a weird, unnecessary backstory bit.
Yeah, it was very strange. But, that's the only weird part so far. So what he does is he quits his job.
Okay.
And he gets a job.
I feel like that is the wrong thing to do in a show called The Sweet-Toothed Salaryman.
No. Sorry. So in the very first episode, he has quit his job, and he has gotten a new job as a traveling salesman.
Okay.
In and around Tokyo. And he has gotten this job specifically so that he's taken a pay cut. He has taken this job specifically so that as he is traveling around Tokyo, he can finish his sales visits early and play hooky from work to go visit sweets shops.
Okay.
And by that they mean bakeries, basically. This is not a candy thing. It's all confections, okay? And every episode he goes and he has a blog that he updates, and he is called The Sweets Night, all right?
Okay.
And every episode, this is a fictional television show, but every place that he visits is shot on location in a real, bakery in Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing is a fictionalized commercial, sort of, for, the best bakeries or whatever. But, that's not, the point. They just, wanted to make it real. But, what it ends up being is, this commercial. So he goes and he eats sweets. And when he eats, first of all, he has a problem. He has a very serious, psychological addiction to sweets. It's so intense, he carries, sweetened lip gloss in his pocket, just in case. He can't get,
a sugar
fix. Yeah. Right. So when he goes, he eats sweets and is, transported by eating them to, phantasmagorical vistas in which he interacts and personifies the various elements of these dishes. It's mind-blowing. It's so weird. There's a handful of other things. There's a coworker who we find out, we think she's just trying to investigate him because she's he's playing hooky and I don't like it. It turns out she is also obsessed with sweets and is just looking for like a sweets eating partner.
Okay.
Because he can't tell anybody. Because like he's not supposed to be like playing hooky from work. So like it's a super duper secret and he cannot tell anybody that he is doing this, despite the fact that he has a blog about it. I just like, and also like where we see a lot of like Japanese desserts and like, man, there's like beans in everything. Like they just cannot get enough of that sweet bean paste.
That sweet bean.
they just love beans, man. And like, I love beans. And there's one dessert and he's like flipping out over it. It's called like mamekan, I think. And it is seaweed jelly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's seaweed jelly. And at first I was like, oh, they just must be like making gelatin. You know, like gelatin doesn't taste like pig's feet anymore. Like it just kind of tastes like gelatin. But no, like he specifically references at one point the fact that like, this gelatin like still tastes like seaweed. Like it's so amazing. So it's seaweed gelatin.
Cool.
And beans.
Great. Perfect
and then
dessert
just like
food.
And then just like sugar syrup. And he's like, this is like the greatest dessert. Like, I can't believe how good it is. And I'm like, man, Japan, like, guys.
Dude, there is nothing, I think, that separates culinary cultures more than dessert. Like, there are a lot of different cultures with a lot of different foods, but I feel like I can eat a lot of different cultures, like, meals. But when it comes down to like snacks and candies and desserts, like that is where you take a weird left turn sometimes. And sometimes you find that left turn is delightful. And sometimes you find that it is filled with seaweed jello.
Just like, but anyways, this show is on Netflix, man. I can't, it's pretty fantastic. And the episodes are short. So, Kantaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. I've got all sorts of other, like, drama shows that I'm, like, really excited to watch. I'm not watching them. I'm just watching Kantaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman right now. Speaking of watching things, Matt, what is our 4th star of the week?
Dave, our 4th star of the week is a Star War, which I went to go see.
Hey! That was good.
Thank you.
Seen it.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I mean, listen, you got twins.
Listen, dude, I love those babies. And it is the only thing that I am regularly like kind of like just like in the tiniest bit sore about like, oh man, I love going to the movies. It's basically impossible. Anyways.
Listen, do not be afraid. I'm not going to talk about Star Wars in any sort of meaningful way that would spoil anything because I know that I'm not an unhuman beast. Anyway, it was really good and I liked going to see it. But what I want to talk about is like the experience of going to see it because I went to a 7 p.m. like quote unquote midnight show on Thursday night to go see it.
Okay.
And I don't know why anyone goes to see a movie at a different time than that. Like, 7 p.m. the day before it's supposed to come out is the best time to go see a movie ever, especially if it's a big one.
That makes a ton of sense to me, yeah.
Like, especially if you have, like, a theater in the area where, like, you know other people that you are familiar with like to go to. Because what happened was, our sister and I went out to go see Star Wars. I ran into like 5 people that I knew.
Nice.
The movie started at 7, so we got out at like 9:30. So like when we were all leaving, we were like, "Oh, hi, friends of ours. Like, let's cross the street to this bar and go for a drink to talk about Star Wars." And we walked in and we ran into like 5 other people that we knew who were waiting to go see the 10 o'clock show. So, like, we all just, like, hung out and talked about how fun Star Wars is. Not in any sort of, spoilery way, because
right, yeah,
some people haven't seen it yet. And it was wonderful. Like, I especially because this is a theater that does the Capitol Theater in Gordon Square in Cleveland, if you are from the area. The Capitol does, like, those early release, like, midnight release shows. But since it's sort of, like, it's not, like, a big multiplex, and so it doesn't, like, sell out and pack up like as quickly as other theaters. So like I bought the tickets for it like that morning. And when I bought it there were still like 100 seats left. And like it filled up by the time it was showtime, but like,
yeah, of course.
You know, it's not like you had to buy your tickets like 3 months in advance because you were going to like the fancy theater with the leather recliners. You just sort of like showed up and found a seat and sat down and enjoyed it Star Wars. And it was super great. Like when we were walking in, I just had this moment of like, oh, I'm going to see Luke Skywalker do stuff that I've never seen Luke Skywalker do before.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And like when I put it like that in my mind, it was kind of astonishing because like the idea of going to see a new Star Wars movie
is
like,
exciting.
Yeah, but like when I was thinking
definitely
about like a particular character, like, oh, I have like there are a certain like finite number of things that Luke Skywalker has ever done in a movie, and I have seen them all 1,000 times. And today I am going to see new things that Luke Skywalker does in a movie. It felt very good, and I liked seeing it, and I want to see it again. I don't want to talk more about it because, again, like, it just came out, and so I don't want to, like, accidentally stray into things, but, folks, go
I'm sure we will spend at least maybe a few minutes talking about it, like, once we've seen it, and, like, a little more time has passed.
Oh, sure, yeah. But, yeah, go see Star Wars. I mean, if you like Star Wars, don't, like, torture yourself if you're not a Star Wars guy. Anyway, Dave, what is our 5th and final Star of the Week?
Well, you know, Matt, it's a quick one, but it's the star that goes at the top of a tree. This is our last episode. It's our last episode before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas, folks.
Yeah, and when the episode comes out, it'll be the second to last day of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas.
I guess we've got another week till New Year's, but...
Yeah. Man, it's just like a festive season. And I hope it's a great one for you. So does Matt, I imagine.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
no. I mean,
I'm
I figured.
You.
I just didn't want to like speak for you necessarily.
No, I appreciate that.
We hope everything is great for you guys. Things are pretty great for us.
Yeah, I just got the first shipment of Christmas presents that I've purchased delivered to my apartment this morning.
Nice.
So now I actually have like a pile of things to wrap, which is making it feel a lot more Christmassy.
Yeah, well, I'm about to be on break, which always makes things feel a lot more Christmassy for this guy. So yeah, guys, have a great season. Thanks again for listening to the show. It means a lot to us that you guys dig it, and you know, tweet at us and interact with us that way. And you know, we love doing it, but we love that you guys dig it too.
Yeah.
So thanks so much.
So let's get into our Christmas gift to you. Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, Episode 9, Suddenly a Traitor. We are going to watch that, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back. So we have just finished watching Episode 9 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, and it ruled.
This might be the best episode yet, I think. I'm fairly confident about saying that.
Okay, so we have heard from you all, the listeners, and from, you know, like I've done a modicum of research on this series. Outside of that, we never want to do too much research. There's a kind of an image. I think a certain dashing panache we want to preserve. Yeah, we want to stay on brand. But what we know about Ohranger is that it was originally conceived as a more serious, sort of like gritty show, like the very old ones, and also like Jetman from, you know, like if you only sort of know the Sentai that we've talked about. But at some point after the first like 8 or so episodes had been written, some bad stuff went down in Japan. There was some sort of like domestic terrorist attack, and there was a tsunami, and like the economy wasn't doing great. And so the show decided that it was going to sort of take a turn for the lighter so as to not like put a bunch of extra like gloom into an otherwise sort of already gloomy scenario year. And so it changed and became a lot more sort of goofy and lighthearted. And this has always been presented to me as a bad thing for the series. Like, it was going to be good and raw in the way that it was in these first couple of episodes, which, don't get me wrong, I loved. Like, I think we are on record as liking those sort of first, like, very intense episodes. But if the lighthearted, goofy episodes that we are going to get throughout the season are anything like this one,
then sign me up. Holy crap.
100%. This episode rules. So let's start. First of all, they have.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
They've updated the opening sequence now to include the Ohranger Robo.
Yes, which I think is cool. Yeah, I just like to see it. So anyways, the episode starts with Juri and Momo, and they're just shopping.
Yes.
Just shopping, just having a nice time.
Momo asks if it's okay that they... Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Momo asks if it's okay that they're not currently on base, like preparing for an attack. Juri says, oh yeah, it's fine now that we have the Ohranger Robo, which is completely invincible. No one is going to bother attacking us. That's like a good form of deterrent. We can have the afternoon off. Does that sound familiar to you? Because that's literally the way the last episode started.
I was actually laughing because they're playing hooky from work, which is like the entire premise of Kantaro, the sweet tooth salary man. So anyways, yeah, they are just like, they're playing hooky, and they're like, Momo says like, well, yeah, like, I guess that's okay then. And Juri says, listen, we are women in our prime. We need to look good so we can attract men. Juri is strong and confident. She knows what she wants out of life, and she knows how to get it. Good for you, Juri.
There is a dress in this store that is just covered in a big print that just says Mickey Mouse over and over.
Love it. Then we are treated to a quick fashion show.
Yes. In it, there is a brief moment where Momo wears the tightest shirt I have ever seen outside of an early 90s X-Men comic.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Like, I don't know how it is possible to get into a shirt that tight.
It was like, most of the outfits are like fun and, you know, they're just like fun outfits. Like that outfit, because it was like paired with booty shorts or something. I was like, that outfit does not seem appropriate for children's television, Momo.
But eventually, and there is a fun moment where they're both in like changing rooms, and like one will open the curtain to show which outfit they're wearing and close it. And then the other one opens the curtain to show what outfit they're wearing, and it just sort of goes back and forth in like an outfit montage.
Yes. So, and then Juri says, she opens the curtain, she says, I have found the dress that I will choose. And Momo says, she's still behind the curtain, she says, me too. And she flings the curtain aside, and horror of horrors, they are wearing the same dress.
Oh, no.
Now, normally we watch your language on this show, but there's no other way to say it. Juri drops like the coldest bitch shade I have ever seen, maybe on broadcast television. She just looks at Momo and she says, it's so terrible to have no self-awareness. She doesn't look at Momo when she says this. She just announces this to the universe. Like, how sad when a person doesn't have any self-awareness. Then she turns to Momo and she says, listen, you need curves for a dress like this. And,
it is a sort of like short red dress with a black belt and sort of like 3/4 length sleeves.
Yeah.
Sort of a scoop neck.
Yeah, and she's like, you need curves for a dress like this, and why you're just so petite. Which I think normally is a compliment, but like you could tell it's super cold. And then Momo says like, well, yeah, but you wouldn't want to be an old lady wearing a dress like this. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I really was expecting like them to both henshin and just throw down. I'm actually a little disappointed that we didn't get that. So they look at each other. They're both furious, and we get like animated laser beams shooting out of their eyes at each other.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, like it has this sort of like back and forth flashing between them and like anime drawings of them staring each other down for like brief seconds.
That's fantastic.
I'm sorry, manga drawings. Anime is animated. That's part of the name. Anyway,
I was there with you, Matthew. So anyways, and then there was an explosion. I was like, wow, that escalated very quickly, but it turns out it's not them.
The city is being attacked by the coolest dude from the Machine Empire, Barra Darts.
Yeah, so Barra Darts is like a guy who, it looks as though his like shoulders, he's like just got like a bodysuit, but his like shoulders and arms are like a scorpion, and the rest of this, like, so his hands are like the scorpion pinchers, and his head is like a robot scorpion head, and then the rest of the scorpion is like behind him, but the tail is like curling up. around him. It is like over his head, and he could use it to shoot things. Okay.
Yeah, and the tip of the tail is filled with like a bunch of poison darts. He also has a monocle, and he has like sort of like wire bits coming out of the front of his face that make it look like he has sort of a curly mustache.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So the girls aren't there yet. It's the three guys show up. So it's Goro, Yuji, and Shohei. They show up, and they're like, Bara, darts, like, who are you? Like, stop destroying the city. And he says, wait, stop. Before we fight, check out my amazing sharpshooting. And he turns, and some Bara soldiers, like, come out onto the balcony, and they each have apples on their heads.
Yes, they do.
And he shoots all three apples at once with the darts from his tail.
It's very good.
I
think it's very good. Shohei also thinks it's very good. Shohei starts applauding.
And Yuji's like, don't applaud for this guy. What are you doing? Stop that. And they're like, all right, that's it. Now we're fighting. He's like, wait. Let me show you one more thing. Let me show you one more trick. And then three more Bara soldiers pop out, and they all have fans. And the fans have the faces of the Rangers on them. And then Bara Darts turns to the fans, and like, we see the Rangers, and they are also looking at the fans. And then Bara Darts just turns and just shoots the Rangers while they're distracted by the fan.
Yeah, it's an amazing moment.
I lost it. I'm like, that's brilliant. What an amazing plan.
It's a stupid plan, because there's no reason it should work on a group of like adults who have been sent there to fight you as part of their job, but it does work perfectly, and I love it. I was
gonna say, man, if it looks stupid but it works, it ain't stupid. So they just go down. Like, that's it. The Juri and Momo arrive, and as the guys are like writhing on the ground, Juri has some sort of like high-tech grenade, like explosive, that she just hucks at Bara Darts, and they escape. Okay.
See, I love this, because I am now going to like headcanon that every single time the O-Rangers get away in a scene in which they otherwise should not be able to get away, it's just because Juri's throwing grenades at people. Like, we don't always see it, but it's always happening. Just so many grenades.
Yeah, that's really good, Matt. I accept that. So what the next thing we see is they're in the base, and the guys are in some sort of like medical containment, like hyperbaric chamber, like super science medicine thing.
Right.
And the chief looks at it and he says, they are starting to rust over, which first of all, I think Bobo says, like, that's impossible. That's not how that works.
And Chief is like, yeah, well, machine poison. Like,
yeah, that's all we get. Machine poison.
Momo is like, oh no, this never would have happened if we hadn't been out shopping. And I want to take a moment on this, because I feel like that is the wrong lesson to be putting out here. Because it never would have happened if they hadn't been like playing hooky from work. But saying it in that way, like, oh no, like if we ladies hadn't been out shopping, this never would have happened, puts it in like it does not put it in the right light, and it makes it sound like them enjoying shopping is the problem, as opposed to like not being at work on time.
Yeah, which first of all, I'm pretty sure it absolutely would have happened, because they weren't patrolling with the guys. And more importantly, let me say, it also would have not have happened if the guys had not been distracted by the very obvious monster doing like fun sharpshooting tricks for them.
Right. Like, Shohei was applauding for the dude.
Yeah, that is like that's the primary problem here.
Yes. But in any case, Chief says, like, listen, we don't have time to deal with your woman feelings, because this show is not very good about... it sucks, because Momo and Juri rule, right? Like, they're very good.
Awesome.
And I'm so glad to have, like, a more sort of parity between the team now, where there are two women on the team this year, as opposed to last year where we only had one, although she was great. But in every opportunity they have, Ohranger really does not do right by characters that otherwise, like, they write the characters to be very cool.
Yeah, it is a very kind of strange dichotomy, and I'm hoping it's something that we work past, because Momo and Juri are pretty fantastic.
But he says, listen, we don't have time to deal with this. They will rust over in 6 hours. We need you to find a solution to this.
So we get a brief digression to the moon where we see Emperor Bacchus Wrath, and he says, this is a great plan. He says, we can't beat Orobo. We know that.
Yes.
At least right now. He doesn't say that. That's just in my head. He says, we can't beat Orobo, but if we can take out the Rangers in their just human bodies, there's going to be nobody to pilot Orobo. So we'll win, which I love. Okay, Matt, I want to be real. First of all, Bacchus Wrath looks really dumb. I'm not a fan of the character design.
He's growing on me.
As a character, as like the leader of the Machine Empire, Bacchus Wrath is pretty rad, actually.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he seems to be like you can tell that he is the emperor of a Machine Empire in a pretty intense way. Like, he's definitely seems to be the most like thinking, planning of all the big monsters that we've had so far. So I'm pretty into him so far. So we go back from there, and it's just Baradart's going crazy, just blowing stuff up, like
rusting everything over.
Yeah, just rusting everything with his poison darts. So the Juri and Momo show up, and they're yelling at Baradart. So like, return our friends to normal, and he's like, No, I'm not. I won't do that. But he says, but it is possible. You could turn them back to normal if you have the antidote. And here's the antidote. And he like a slot opens in his chest, and he like pulls it out. And he says, here's the antidote. I have it. And then he puts it back.
And it looks like a sort of like a tiny silver football.
Yeah, which is a weird. Like, so I don't know why he tells them that he has this, but he does. So they henshin, and they go to fight. And Baradart wins pretty handily.
Yeah, they have a fight sort of like as they're going downstairs, which seems like it's like a very dangerous stunt for the TV show to be doing.
It was, but it was some really neat choreography. They're like jumping around and like rolling downstairs and stuff. It's pretty cool.
There is a trick shot where Momo is rolling down the stairs, and as she is rolling down the stairs, she like untransforms.
Yeah,
but the camera never cuts away from it, and I genuinely like could not see the seam of where like the camera cut from like someone in a costume to someone not in a costume.
Yeah, they did a great job. Man, I just like, normally of course we do just kind of like watch the show, but I get a kick out of like, relative to like how long they have to produce these episodes, like they do some really, really slick stuff with a lot of the effects in this show. So we do see something is that Baradart's like pulls like a cord out of his side. It has like a dagger on it or something, and he stabs Juri, and she gets electrocuted. So he also has some sort of like electrical power that we don't really see, but it's there. So Momo changes back to a human form, and Juri surrenders.
Yeah, she says, like, listen, you are clearly stronger than the two of us. You've already beaten the guys. I surrender. I'll do anything you want. Spare my life. I'll even join you. Like, there's so many things in my life I haven't done. I've never even eaten fugu, like, which I did not know what it was until it comes back later in the episode.
Oh, yeah, it's the poison fish.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I am now on Team Baradart.
Yeah, and so Baradart's like, really? Okay. If you're so like keen to join up with Team Baradart's destroy O Pink, and Juri just says, all right. And she just turns and like starts marching over. Momo runs, and Juri's like, I'm gonna chase after her, presumably, but Baradart says, no, don't worry about it. Don't chase her. Like, I believe you, and she'll come back. She'll come back for the antidote later, and like we'll just kill her then.
Yeah.
So we go back to the base, and the guys are sort of like flipping out, like writhing in agony, because they are rusting, which that makes sense to me.
Momo is
not the
furious.
rusting, the writhing.
Sure. Momo is furious. She will not forgive Juri.
Yeah, if she's truly betrayed them.
Yes. And there are only 3 hours left until the guys are completely rusted over forever.
So we go back to town. We could get a quick scene, and is Juri kneeling. He says, do you swear your loyalty to me? And she, like, old school, like, medieval style, she, like, kneels and kisses his hand.
Yeah, like there is no ring for her to kiss, but like that's what she's doing. And what is great is that he does not tell her to swear loyalty to the Machine Empire. He's like, oh no, you gotta swear loyalty to Barra Darts.
I did really like that. It's like, do you got a secret plan there, Barra Darts? Are there wheels within wheels? Within cogs within cogs, I guess, in the case of Barra Darts. So she rolls out to find O-Pink. So I guess now he does want her to go find her. So she rolls out to go find O-Pink. Bacchus Wrath, we flip back and we see him, and he is in some sort of communication with Barra Darts, and he's like, listen, Barra Darts, I love what you're doing. I'm a big part of every part of this plan, but don't let your guard down. Because women are treacherous. Can't trust them.
The creature known as woman is deceitful,
That's right.
Is what he says.
Is deceitful. Hysteria hears him. She like walks up behind him. She's like, excuse me? What was that now? And he feels like great, like, what? Oh dear, nothing. I didn't. No, never mind. I was just goofing with the fellas.
You know how it is. By the way, have we on the same point that we were talking about earlier about how this show does not have like great relationships with women? Have we talked about how bogus it is that she is named Empress Hysteria?
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things that I have meant to mention in like every episode, but we never get around to it. That's a pretty loaded term and probably not a great name for your like evil empress. Anyway,
I don't even. Yeah, like that's a whole big weird ball of wax.
So we not to dwell too much on that, but so we're gonna cut back down, and Momo is driving around town in her motorcycle trying to find Barra Darts.
Yes, and she does not find Barra Darts, but what does happen is that Juri finds her, and well, we assume it's Juri, and it in fact is. And she's wearing like head to toe bicycle, like black leathers with like a black helmet. And she shoots her with like a machine gun or something. And so Momo goes flying. She lands. She looks over, and Juri takes off the helmet. So we can see that it's her. And then she like Kaku Ranger style like tears the leathers away and reveals that underneath the leathers she is wearing the dress.
Yes.
So she is wearing the dress, and the first thing that she says is, admit that it looks better on me. Like, just admit it. And Momo basically says, like, never. I'll never admit that dress looks better on you. So they kind of square up, and they start fighting. And Juri is doing, I just want to say, Juri is doing a really impressive job fighting in that dress, because it does not look like it is designed for action.
No, especially because Juri's whole deal is like doing high kicks.
Yeah, there are a couple of like quick fan service moments in there, I think just inevitably, because this dress is not designed for that. But so they're fighting. There's some smack talk going on about like who looks better, and Juri's old and all of this stuff. Darts is off in the side, and he is loving the show.
Yeah, he's like, who knew it could be so fun to watch humans murder each other?
Which I feel like a lot of people in the Machine Empire would have been able to tell him. That seems like...
I mean, that's kind of their thing. So eventually, Juri gets Momo in like a headlock. Or not.
Yeah, like there's some good fight. Like Momo gives her the Buddha palm. And then, like, they do some other stuff. But yeah, so she gets Momo in a headlock.
And she's like, okay, Barra Darts. Like, I'm holding her. Hit her with the dart. Like, you got this. But at the last second, as the dart is flying in, she sort of like drops Momo, lets her go, and the dart hits Juri instead. And it is hung in the air in front of her by a pretty visible fishing line.
Yeah, there was a weird way to do that. So like we said, sometimes they do some great stuff with practical effects. Sometimes not as great.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that much time to make these episodes.
So this is incredible. Like, we are about to start like a twisty-turny plot exposition that I just cannot get enough of. So she says, oh my gosh, Barra Darts, something has gone wrong. Like, I'm going to die. Please give me the antidote. Barra Darts says, yes, of course, like my loyal servant. And he like pulls the antidote out of his chest and like throws it to her. Juri says, ha, sucker. And she like, and that, we don't see how she would have conceivably pulled it out, because this dress is like one piece of like stretchy fabric that she is holding a piece of metal in front of her. And so, which there is no possible way that she was hiding this piece of metal under this dress. But this is what we are told is true.
But she has like the good, the bad, and the uglied him. Or alternately, Back to the Future 3'd him.
Yeah, either one works. And so she says, there was a metal plate. You idiot. Like, now I've got the antidote and I can help my friends. And Momo says, like, wait, you never betrayed us? And Juri says, no, of course I never betrayed you. You believed me, right? And Momo says, like, of course. No.
Yeah, no, sure, never. Fine, we're good.
Which, Momo, Juri, I feel like you guys, should just, like, maybe talk to a third party. Clearly there's, like, underlying levels of distrust there. But, that's a thing for another time. So then
that's
the first twist.
Right. Then here's twist number 2. Barra Darts is like, haha, you're the idiot, because actually that's not the antidote. Like
I wasn't fooled at all.
And like that's actually a bomb and it explodes.
So he has the real antidote. Okay. So then the guys run in from like off camera.
Right.
Like, we see them
Twist
run
number
in.
3.
Twist number 3, the guys run in. And Momo says, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, we were just messing with you because the chief developed his own antidote and he healed the other rangers already. Barra Darts is so furious that this is the case that he just hurls the antidote at them. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what that was meant to accomplish.
Yeah,
but he does.
He's not thinking straight. He's all riled up,
and he turns and he shoots darts at the 3 guys, which next twist pass right through them because they were holograms.
Yes, we turn back to Momo, who is holding like a hologram generator, and she's like, "Ha, we got you again."
She's like, "We didn't know how to solve it. We did actually need the antidote, and now we've got it." So.
It's very good.
Oh my gosh. Like that's some Kaku Ranger level yeah. So then they kind of play like, it's a very weird interlude because they basically play football with the antidote.
Yeah, remember how I said earlier that the antidote is shaped like a small silver football? Like, Juri and Momo square off against Acha and Kocha and a bunch of Barra soldiers to like run the ball through the defenses to get away.
And they really lean into it. Like, they are talking about, they're like, yes, I'm the most valuable player. And I just like,
at some point, either Acha or Kocha, whichever is the big one, and I swear I will remember eventually, catches the ball and is running away from them. He's like, yes, I'm the most valuable player. I'm so good at this game. I'm saving the day. And then he hears off to the side, like, here, pass it here. And he just throws it. And then he looks over, and he has accidentally just thrown it right to Momo, who is already on her motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And she just drives away, and Juri's like, okay, I will stay to, like, stop them from following you.
Yeah, okay, this is a very weird thing, because, like, she's driving away on, like, the bike lane in a park. And Juri steps over the bushes that are, like, next to the bike lane and, like, puts her hands out on the bike lane and says, like, I will stop everyone from following. As though it's like a tunnel, as though she is like standing guard at Thermopylae. And there is just like, guys, you could just go around. There's like 50 of you. But they don't. So Momo arrives at base with the antidote. She administers it, but it's too late. It's too late. It doesn't seem like it works.
She looks up at the clock and it's like 8 minutes after the 6-hour time limit.
Yeah, and she does refer... This is something we actually haven't mentioned before, but I really, really dig it, is that nobody refers to Goro as Goro, except, I think, the chief. everybody, like the other Rangers all refer to him as Captain. And I think it's like I just think it's a cool touch. And I think it sort of sets the stage a little bit because the relationship, it's definitely friendly. And I imagine they will get like more closely bonded as like the episode season continues.
Yeah.
But like they're very definitely like members of a military organization. And the 4 other Rangers are like a little bit more cash with each other. But Goro is always the captain. And I think that's a really cool story touch. So we go from there back to the fight. And they're fighting. And Juri's doing yeoman's work. But it's just too much. Like all the Bara soldiers and Bara darts, like she just can't do it. So she hits the dirt. And Bara darts is like, that's it. And he shoots a dart at her.
And then, from out of nowhere, an arrow hits the dart before it hits Juri. We turn away, and we see Momo with a bow and arrow and quiver. Like, oh yeah. Like, you think you were good at sharpshooting? I am apparently also super good at it.
Well, she's got a shield she could have thrown. They all have laser blasters they could have used. Like, we have never seen anything about Momo being, like, an astonishingly, superhumanly good archer before now.
It must be a callback to the earlier, like, William Tell, like, sharpshooting bits in the episode.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I do agree with you that there were a lot of other ways they could have gone without introducing like a totally random element. But I will say that the cut away to Momo with because it's not like...
It's a great visual. She looks very, very cool.
Because this is not a prop bow and arrow, right? This is not like a Chouriki bow shooting like laser arrows. This is just like a regular compound bow. And she's just got like a bunch of arrows and a quiver hanging on her back. Like, it's a very cool visual.
Yeah, so
because the sun is kind of setting behind her.
They get back into the so now we're back into the fight, and Bara darts can apparently just shoot a giant lightning bolt from his tail, which it seems like it's weird we haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, Dave, I think we forgot to mention something. Seems like it should have been his leading
move.
Because when Momo shows up, she has the other 3 with her, who are all fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, I totally forgot about this.
So remember when she walked in and the clock was like 8:10 after, like, how much time they had? It turns out that the chief, unbeknownst to any of them, had moved the clock ahead 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Because he wanted to, like, give them further motivation to hurry. And so when she was 10 minutes late, she was actually right on time.
And we see when she says that he did this, we cut back and we see the chief standing on we see the chief and he like moves the clock back and then he stands and like mugs into the camera and gives it a big thumbs up.
It's amazing.
So then we get a fight. It's a pretty good fight. We do get to see the Rangers' individual like hand weapons, which man, I really dig those, and I wish we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more of those.
Juri and Momo do like a jumping attack at Bara darts. He shoots a bunch of darts at her. Momo, of course, has a shield, so she just blocks them. Juri like takes her nunchucks and swings them around in front of her like helicopter blades or whirl.
Juri is so rad.
It just like knocks them all out of the air as she's like flying towards him head first. It's super good,
dude. Juri is friggin' sweet. Like I just cannot get over how into her I am. She's super rad.
Goro wrecks him with like a finishing move that he has with the Star Riser that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, like Star Rising Crash. Is that no?
That's Chouriki Riser is what it was called.
Thank you, Chouriki Riser. So Bara darts goes down, and Katcha and Ocha do their weird like hammer throw like grow vitamins thing,
which I genuinely love because they were just literally hiding in the bushes.
Yeah, and so we talked about this last episode, like, are Acha and Kocha just going to be hiding in the bushes, like, literally every episode? And it seems like the answer is just yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ohranger, for this gift.
So he goes giant. Now, this is a tiny bit weird to me. Not that, like, the monsters don't always go giant and don't always fight the giant robot, but the thing that's strange about this to me is that Baranoia has already basically admitted that they can't beat Orobo. Like we know that they are aware of the fact that they can't beat Orobo. Like in the show, like Bacchus Wrath has said this. So the only thing that makes sense to me is that Bacchus Wrath maybe is like withholding this information from the rest of the Bara Empire, like Bara monsters, and is knowingly sending them to their deaths just to like gather data on Orobo's capacities.
Right. And, I think what he's hoping is that that they're going to be able to defeat them, like, when they're small. But once they've been defeated when they're small, there's kind of no reason to not grow them.
Yeah, like, just kind of see. And actually, I don't think they haven't said that is the case, that, like, that's what Bacchus Wrath is doing. But it makes a ton of sense to me, and it fits with his characters. I'm going with it.
Yeah.
So, Darts actually gets a couple of shots in. Okay, like he like electrocutes him and he does some other stuff. And then we get two of the special attacks. We get Dogu Vulcan.
Yes.
Which is Momo's. And so they do like the Vulcan shot, which is like the two blasters on the side of the head. And then what do they call it? Vulcan kick?
Oh, no,
right?
this is Jury's, not Momo's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jury's. And they do Vulcan kick, which is just like a flying kick. It's kind of...
I don't know. Vulcan sky kick. Or
sky
kick.
Yeah, they sort of... It's one of those, like, he just sticks his foot out and, like, they put it on wires and just sort of gently swing it at the monster. And then we flip out and we get the Moa loader head, Moa cannon, and they lead with Moa tornado, which is just Orobo, like, spinning around and pink energy swirls around him and that hurts the monster somehow.
Which is cool.
So, in my notes, it's obviously it's Orobo. Mm-hmm. Because they're Ohrangers, but in the notes, it always just looks like they're saying like, "Oh, Robo." So, and then they flip back to Phoenix Head, and they do the Crown Sword, and then Crown Final Crash, which is their like super slicey move that all the Rangers have, like across all shows for all time. And then that's game. That's it.
Yeah.
Darts goes down.
We cut back to later that day or the next day or whatever, and they are. Momo and Jury are back in the same shopping center, and they're looking at clothes and so forth. The camera pans over, and all three of the guys are also there, and they are holding a bunch of boxes of things that the women have already purchased.
Yes. And we see Shohei, like, with his wallet out, and he's, like kind of rifling through it, and very sadly realizing that it's empty. And turns out that the ladies have insisted, they're like, well, we basically did everything, and we saved you, so you're taking us shopping, and it's only fair, and you're buying us all a bunch of nice clothes, and then afterwards, you are taking us out for fugu.
Because we've never eaten it, and now is the time.
Yeah.
And, I think it's either Goro or Yuji, tries to run away. It's like, I just remembered a different appointment. Sorry, I gotta go.
And they do not buy that. So... and that is the end of the episode.
Yes. I love it.
That was a really, really good episode.
But it is not the end of our episode, Dave, because now it is time for us to determine how well Baradarts fares in the Creature Royale.
I feel pretty good about Baradarts, man. I think first of all, he's got a really, really cool look.
Yeah?
He's got a cool look. He doesn't have much of, a plan... necessarily. His plan is basically just to take the Rangers out.
But he's got a cool look. He's got cool abilities. He's got great style.
Definitely has great style.
He did that bit where he faked out the Rangers and just shot them with poison darts while they were busy looking at his impressive sharpshooting.
That's huge for me. So I'm definitely thinking top half of the list. So the lowest person on the top half of the list, Matt, is Pachinko Master.
Okay. Better than that.
Yeah, definitely better than that. So just as a point of reference, Bara Crusher and Bara Brain are slots 40 and 41. And right above them is Saragami the Ninja Monkey, Bimbogami, and Amukata the Football Centipede at slots 38, 39, and 40. Or 37, 38, and 39, respectively. So, I don't know that I would put... And then Bara Cactus is our highest-ranking Bara monster so far at slot number 20.
Okay.
I definitely would not put Bara Darts above Bara Cactus.
Okay. Would you put him above Bar Crusher?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so let's look at above Bar Crusher, because right above that we have Omukade, the football centipede that is also sometimes Santa Claus.
Yes.
Now, the fact that he's also sometimes Santa Claus gives him a lot of points, but I feel like eventually that can't carry him forever.
No,
now, this is our Christmas episode, so I do feel bad about saying that a weird scorpion man with William Tell accuracy is better than Santa Claus, but I don't feel bad saying that he's better than a football-themed centipede monster or a centipede-themed football monster, depending on how you want to throw that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a tomato, I think, sort of situation. So let's kind of jump up, man. Is he, let's just throw it out there, your perennial favorite, Matt, is he cooler than Lipstick Songstress?
Man, okay, no, because Lipstick Songstress has like a death chorus of women who she has like mind controlled into singing a like song which murders the Die Rangers.
Yeah, no, that's pretty. I'm fine with that. I just, So
below that is Iron Mask Choryu, the Darth Vader of
Die Ranger, and then Meteor Bem. So I'm thinking. I think I do like Bara Darts better than Omukata the football centipede.
Okay.
I think I actually like him better than Binbogami, the wealth manipulating yokai.
Yes. I hate that guy.
But
I mean, he's a great monster, but I hate him on sort of like an existential level.
Right. I don't think I like him better than Sarigami the Ninja Monkey.
Okay, I think that is a good spot for him. That puts him at the new number 38 on our list.
Yeah. And that, Matt, actually is going to do it.
Yes, sir. That is going to do it for another episode of For Your Eyes, Ohranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. I don't always respond to those because I am bad at remembering to do it, but I do always read them, and I always appreciate getting them. If you want to follow us on Twitter, see what we're talking about there, get updates on new episodes, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Please rate and review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you find the show. That's going to help new people find it. The Retrograde Orbit Radio produces the show. If you would like to hear any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do so at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, this has been the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.